Hey, so hello everyone and welcome to Foreman Community Demo. I'm the farm and active developer within the Foreman project, and I'll be hosting the demo today. So as usual, we have some updates to share with you and some new things we've been working on to share as well. So for any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us on the Foreman group chat on Metrics, or during the demo, you can also use the chat here on Google Meet. Okay, so today we're supposed to have 3 topics to demo. Let's see, we're missing one of the presenters, so we might have to change the order of the topics. So we have 1 documentation topic and 2 more topics from the Catella team. But before we dive in, I'd like to share a few updates from the community. So the first one is that the provisioning interest group is having another meeting on October 7th. So if you're interested in that topic, feel free to join them. More details you can find in the community. There's a post with all the details and a link to the invitation. And besides that, the 2 conferences, the Config Management Camp and FOSDEM, both of them opened the call for proposals on their website. So if you're interested to submit some topics for any of the conferences, this is the time to do it. I think there are more 2 weeks until the submission is closed. Yeah. Thank you, Maximilian, for sharing the link in the chat. Yeah, that is all from the community. So we can start. And I see Lena hasn't joined us, so we'll skip the topic. Maybe we can get back to it later. Yeah, so our first topic for today is from Ian, Pulp href to PRN migration.
Awesome, thanks. I'll just get my screen shared really quick. Okay, so what I'm talking about today is something that's a bit in the background, but it does have to do with the bigger effort to move in the future to Pulp 4. So as folks may know, we typically upgrade Pulp every 2 Catella releases to ensure that we're up to date with the latest features and bug fixes and all of that. And also to give, hopefully, the Pulp team a ordinary amount of releases that need backport support. Now, at some point, we're not sure when, but Pulp 4 will become a thing. I would recommend, if you haven't heard anything about it, there have been talks about the move to Pulp 4 in the past. The big theme is it should really feel more like a minor version update than a major version update, unlike the Pulp 2 to 3 migration. But we're doing some prep to get ourselves ready for Pulp 4, because when Pulp 4 comes out, we want to make sure that we can stay on top of the latest features and bug fixes. So we want to be able to switch to it without pause. So in the meantime, we're doing some prep work for the things that Pulp 4 is going to drop. And so what I'm displaying on my screen here is an RFC that I've posted a little while back about our migration from hrefs to PRNs, which are Pulp resource names. I believe that's what it's called. So in Pulp, currently today, and I'll, let's see, we can, that. If I bring down my terminal, I have a publication here highlighted. And you can see that there's a Pulp href, and this is what was the main identifier of the publication. And just like any other record in Pulp, it's an href in that it's a portion of an endpoint that you can hit to actually query this record from their API. Using these kinds of URLs just doesn't work very well when you talk about domain support. And there's a bunch of things that are difficult. So they're moving to something called the PRN, which looks like this. Instead, it's really just a UUID and then some kind of resource label at the beginning. Our code in Catella refers to these hrefs to load up certain resources from the Pulp data from the Pulp API. So when this drops, we need to make sure that we can still talk to Pulp properly. So we have to refer to these records by their PRN, which means we have to migrate. We've already merged some of our code to do this migration. There's a commit here that merged yesterday to populate these PRN fields via a migration. And you can see there's lots of regular expressions with Postgres going on in this pull request. Now, this upgrade, we want to make it as painless as possible and as quick as possible. So we considered if we needed to have this migration be part of a task that runs in the background, because originally we thought we'd be querying this from the API. But as it turns out, if you look at this PRN, the UUID is the same, and this resource name in the back here is static. We know what the name is going to be, so we can calculate it, and that's what we're doing in that pull request that I showed you with all the regular expressions. We're just calculating the PRN. It's incredibly fast. We've tested on many, many records. I think Samir might have said 1 million, maybe. And so that should be incredibly quick. The issue is version hrefs. So if I do, let's see, Pulp RPM repository version list. Let's see if that works. Oh no, just take a repository list. You can see the versions endpoint literally has a number for the version. And the UUID here refers to the repository instead of the repository version. Repository versions are separate records in Pulp, which means our database doesn't have the UUID for the repo version. So we will have to fetch that from the API. So to sum it up, how the migration is going to work, it will happen in one single release. The migration will run, which will populate the new columns, do this calculating migration, and then the installer will run an upgrade task, which will query the Pulp API to populate the repository version PRN records, which should be relatively quick because people don't have as many repository versions as they do, say, RPM units, content units. And then in some future release, we will drop the hrefs attribute. And we would drop that from every table just to do some cleanup. So we'll do some performance testing on this, but it shouldn't impose much upgrade risk or slowdown. But we will have some updates in the future if that ever changes. And yeah, that's all I had to share. Let me know if there are any questions.
Thanks, Ian. So far, I don't see any questions. Yeah, so I guess we can move on to our next topic for today by Samir, the registry token expiration extensions and setting.
Hey, all right, let me share my screen. And I've been having some screen sharing issues when I share my entire screen, so hopefully this will all work out. Okay, all right. So my demo today is mostly to advertise this new setting that we have added, which is called registry token expiration time. The default that we have set it to is 60 minutes. So what this means is, so when you're using your Foreman Catalog server as a container registry, you're supposed to log in. Can you see my terminal? I'm never sure what I'm sharing.
No.
It locked up.
Locked up. Okay. Let me restart it. Oh. Screen one. Yeah, if someone has a fix for this bug, please let me know. Okay. So essentially what that means is when you're using the Foreman Catalog server as your container registry, serving container content, on a registered host, you would run a Podman login against the Foreman Catalog server. You'll provide a username and a password. And And once you have logged in, I will try to share back my screen, which is Chrome tab. Let me do this. Okay, and hopefully I'm presenting the right screen. So once you log in as this user, which is my own user, you will see a new registry token under your personal access tokens. And this will come with an expiration time of 1 hour. That is 60 minutes. I logged in like 9 minutes ago, so mine expires in 51 minutes. One thing about this is if you were to have an active registry token and you make another podman request to the registry, it will extend your active personal token by another 60 minutes. So those are the two things that this new setting controls. Earlier, it used to be a hard-coded 6-minute token expiration. So we have extended that to 60 minutes. Because for some long-running tasks over slow networks, you might run out of your token active time. So this is where you can control it, and you can set it to whatever in minutes, depending on your use case. All right, I'll get out of my screen sharing hell. That's all.
Thank you, Samir. No questions. So yeah, that was all for us for today. Next time is in 3 weeks, as usual, on October 16th. If there are no more questions, I'd like to thank everyone for joining, and to our team, thanks for sharing your work with us. Yes, so see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks all.